KUAM News, winner of the 2022 Regional Edward R. Murrow Award for Excellence in Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion for the Culture Club.
KUAM News headlines are presented by Calvo's Insurance, a legacy of trust. Serving Micronesia since 1938, Matson celebrating 25 years of commitment to Guam, Micronesia, and the CNMI. Cars Plus, Guam's leader in sustainability and electric vehicles. Learn more at carsplusguam.com. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it, and King's Restaurant, serving your local breakfast, lunch, and dinner favorites for over 45 years.
Ahead on KUAM News Prime Time, a body is found in a jungle off Route 15 in Yigo. Police investigators left with more questions than answers as they try to find out who the victim is and how they died.
With inflation going up, shoppers are scrambling to find the best prices for their groceries. This as the cost of items like eggs skyrockets. We find out how many of you are making do.
The governor's former political rival, now Labor Secretary, we sit down with Layla Staffler for the latest jobs report from the CNMI.
Hafide and good evening. I'm Nick Delgado. Welcome to Prime Time. Who is the person police found dead in Yigo this morning? An autopsy set to help investigators find that answer, along if the person's death was a result of foul play. A death investigation now underway as the Northern Village stunned over the discovery. A body is found in the jungle area just a few short feet from the entrance of the Raceway Park in Yigo.
Shocked because I don't think there was any report of any missing persons, from Yigo, that as far as I know, that, from that area.
Yigo Mayor Anthony Sanchez getting word early Tuesday that police were investigating in his village just after 8 in the morning. Conservation officers with the Department of Agriculture calling it in. Guam Police spokesperson Officer Berlin Sevilla.
It is identified as a frequent trail area where hunters come out and hunt for wildlife, right? With that being said, our officers came and made their assessment on what was being reported and had, of course, activated our criminal investigation division. They came out and they assumed this case, and we are actively trying to find out more information on this death investigation. We're asking the public that if you may have had family members who are overdue from this type of activity, to kindly give our dispatch center a contact so we can gather pertinent and more information.
Criminal investigators unable to say if the body is that of a man or a woman. The remains said to be badly decomposed. Now investigators will have to wait for the autopsy to be performed to confirm how they died. Guam fire officials also responded to recover the remains from the jungle area. Mayor Sanchez says the property is Chamorro Land Trust owned and often is a site they find illegal dumping.
Sometimes you get a lot of abandoned vehicles that people just leave there on the side of the road, because it's not a well-lit area.
For now, the mayor and police are reaching out to the community in hopes to get some answers to solve the case. Murder defendant Nathan Ojeda takes an insanity plea, denying the charges handed down in an indictment against him in local court. Ojeda stands accused in the deadly shooting of AJ Mendiola in Hoggett. Mendiola's family attending a virtual hearing today. Ojeda pleaded not guilty by reason of mental illness or defect to charges of aggravated murder and murder, along with having a deadly weapon. The 35-year-old remains held on $250,000 cash bail. Ojeda contends he was initially targeted in the shooting, but witnesses told police Ojeda pulled the trigger first. 3 people are now charged in an investigation involving drugs being smuggled into the Department of Corrections prison. A superseding indictment handed down recently in Superior Court. 44-year-old Joshua Sharp and 24-year-old Lani Lynn Ariola each face charges of possession of a Schedule II controlled substance with intent to deliver and drug possession. The pair, along with Leroy Ariola, also charged with solicitation to promote major prison contraband. The alleged incident happening last November. Court documents state Lani Lynn was visiting the Manila facility when she was caught by officers at the prison with meth in her shoes. He allegedly threatened to hurt a woman he knows as he was sexually abusing her. 36-year-old Pierre Tapasnia, charged with first and third-degree criminal sexual conduct and terrorizing. Court documents state Tapasnia hid in his accuser's bathroom until she went to sleep. That's when he allegedly brought her into her bedroom, held her down, and sexually assaulted her while making threats. Arresting officers noting Tapasnio would only sing during their interaction. He's being held at DOC. Now to a theft caught on camera at a mom-and-pop store in Totu. Jonagan Charfris with the story.
The shoplifters were in and out of the new Totu market in less than 2 minutes. It happened Monday night. Here's one of them wearing shades and a hoodie unzipped. The thief grabs a basket and starts to put multiple items inside. He's captured then walking around the inside of the store, grabbing other snacks from the shelves. Suddenly, he snatches 2 packs of beer and walks toward the front entrance. The thief paces near the counter and then heads to the door. Another suspect is captured wearing a black hat, trying to distract the cashier. The thief holding the stolen goods, unaware he has to press a button to get the door to open. It wasn't long before they realized how to make their escape. The pair seen on the outside surveillance running out of the front of the building into the silver sedan. The cameras capturing clear images of them both, along with a license plate of their getaway car. No injuries were reported. Recognize this pair or have any information about this theft? You're asked to call the Guam police or report it to the Guam Crime Stoppers. Jonagan Charfis, KUAM News.
Thanks, Joan. A bill is in the works that proposes to authorize judicial corporal punishment or caning for those convicted of serious crimes in Guam. Freshman Senator Dwayne St. Nicholas posting a copy, you see right there on your screen, the front page of the legislation on his Facebook. He wrote, "I promised to address crime and punishment, and here is my solution." He adds that the details are still being worked out and will be introduced soon. But according to a Department of Justice website, there is no provision for judicial corporal punishment in federal or state law. However, several states continue to allow for spanking of children in schools. Senator Nicholas is set to speak on the proposal with KUAM tomorrow. His staff saying that he's still working out the details again. But meantime, we went on the community, wanted to find out what some had to say about it. We heard from both sides on the proposal, some for and others against.
I don't think private caning is the way to go. I think it should be public so that we can see whether there's abuse. You don't want abuse. You just want to let that person know that there's a payment that he doesn't like. And you want to control it getting out of hand. Privately, I don't think you can control it.
We have to respect the process here. We have to respect the law, the local statute, and also the federal statute, depending on the type of crimes that are being committed. Okay, and also we have to, people are innocent until proven guilty. And we have to respect the law, the Constitution.
Most countries have banned corporal punishment, with the notable exception of Singapore, where public canings continue and are a holdover from British colonial rule. The cost of eggs isn't going over easy. Mitsuki Hirayama checking the shelves and the streets to see exactly what's hatching.
It's a shocker. Not to mention, it's hard to find nowadays too. I mean, Costuless is really out of it.
A surge in egg prices leaving shoppers shell-shocked and shelves empty.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, it is. I mean, but I heard there's problems with chicken and stuff right now in the mainland too.
According to data from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics Consumer Price Index, the prices of eggs skyrocketed 60% in 2022. Dedado resident Bella Marquez feeling the nationwide eggflation as local grocery stores are forced to hike up the price.
Just to let you know, I went to Kmart. Kmart is the cheapest. It's about $6.79, I believe, for a dozen large.
Talofofo resident Marie remembering when cheap meant more bang for your buck.
They were mostly like anywhere from $3.94 to like $5.
Now across the island, a carton of eggs cost anywhere from $6 to $8. At Costuless, a dozen extra large eggs is $6.99, and shoppers are limited to 6 cartons per person. A carton at Hoffa Day Market in Yigo is $7.39, 10 cents more at Payless, and $7.99 in 7 Day in Harmon and at American Grocery in Yigo. The CNMI also seeing high costs, with Saipan selling a dozen large eggs for $6.19, $6.99 in Tinian, and $8.99 in Rhoda.
I understand why it's going high because of the avian flu, but still, it's a lot for most people to do.
The shortage partly caused by what experts call the worst outbreak of avian flu to hit the U.S., but the American Egg Board saying inflation is the bigger problem.
You have feed prices that are up, you have fuel prices that are up, you have grain prices that are up, you have packaging costs that are up, you have labor costs that are up.
It's a burden to all, but for now, eggs still remain on the shopping list.
I'm going to make potato salad tomorrow for gathering at home, and I had to deal with it. You know what I mean? It's our life here in Guam. Yeah. So whether or not it's expensive, I guess if we need it, then yeah.
Mitsuki Hirayama, KUAM News.
Thanks, Mitsuki. So far, so good for government revenue collections. After the end of the first quarter, December 2022, collections are already tracking 29 million more than projected. Last month, they were tracking about 19.5 million higher for a nearly $10 million rise. The report shows that once again, income tax collections, individual, corporate, and withholding accounted for all the increases. All other categories, such as businesses, privilege taxes, came in lower than projected. On an annualized basis, the year-to-date actual revenue projections are tracking 3.5% higher than the adopted revenue projections. It's with a heavy heart now that we share the news of former Mongmong Totu Mighty Commissioner Jesus C. Bamba's passing. Bamba dedicated 4 years of his life to public service, carrying out his indelible care for the people of MTM between 1985 to 1989. During his service, he provided leadership as Vice President of the Mayor's Council of Guam, the council expressing its condolences for their colleagues' passing. We here at KUAM extend our deepest condolences to his wife, Ana Cruz Bamba, and his family. Rosary and funeral details are pending an announcement from the family. We'll be back in a moment.
Get up-to-the-minute news, plus access to alerts, streaming radio, promotions, and more on your mobile device by downloading the KUAM News mobile app, available at the App Store now.
Ali malungilsid sila korkalo Mr. Tiang, nga kang klakarol mi, nga kang ilutyal yobor a COVID-19, lego makarer adrablik, marsalik, mar adal gimta kalorior, mar wukti bebirar adal dimral, el nga kamot talortir, mamot takang al almongutyal yobo, lang mongo sukaw, kopman misaula.
For more information, talk to your doctor or call the Guam Immunization Program at 671-735-7143. This message is brought to you by the Department of Public Health and Social Services and funded through a federal grant with the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Funded by CDC grant number 6NH23IP922638-02-06.
We've made a lot of breakfasts, and along the way, we noticed something was missing. A warm cinnamon roll for breakfast, or with breakfast. A fluffy blueberry muffin from the drive-thru you're already driving through. A glazed apple fritter, which might find its way into your coffee. These are options every breakfast haver should have, and now they do. Meet the new bakery sweets at McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
What you need to know from the Northern Marianas. Follow KUAM CNMI on Instagram for the latest regional headlines.
Welcome back to Primetime. If you're one of the more than 2,000 workers in the CNMI still waiting for pandemic unemployment assistance, we've got some good news about an extension. Regional correspondent Tomas Manglonia sits down with the CNMI's new labor secretary and has more.
They have such a complex documentation system that I can see why there's a lot of delays, and I can see why there's a lot of confusion in the public about what happens with PUA.
The new labor secretary says there are still 1,000 people being processed for pandemic unemployment assistance and another 1,400 on appeal. But there's some good news. The program, which was supposed to end in June, was granted an extension to June 2024 to allow for PUA staff to process those cases.
I know that it is very frustrating for the community, but I want to assure everyone that the money for PUA is there and that if you have a case that is awaiting, it will be addressed.
Another cause of the delay is staff employment.
Because PUA is not a long-term program, the way that they renew people is in short increments, and they can't have a working contract longer than 3 months.
She says that creates instability for employees who decide to seek other jobs, leaving a case file for someone new to pick up, basically restarting the process. Meanwhile, Staffler, who just finished her first week on the job, is working to keep up with federal requirements, facing delays due to lack of documentation from the time of former Secretary of Finance David Atalig.
We've actually met some of the goals that were set for us from the U.S. side to reach 50% of U.S. workers employed. We're at 52%, I believe, and we would love to see that number to continue to grow.
She says now is the right time to get help applying for jobs at the Department of Labor. Staffler, a former Democratic candidate for Lieutenant Governor, was appointed in an acting capacity by Governor Arnold Palacios and is expected to undergo a Senate confirmation hearing. Tomas Maglonia for KUAM News, Saipan.
Thanks, Tomas. Former CNMI Governor Ralph Torres' trial date for the Attorney General's criminal charges against him in Superior Court now set for June 5th at 9 in the morning. In a court order, Guam Judge Alberto Tolentino, who is presiding over the case after all CNMI judges recused themselves, wrote that due to unforeseen circumstances unrelated to this matter, the court is unable to proceed with the current February 13th trial date. Media reports indicate that the judge may be facing some medical issues, the judge also noting that the jury summons have yet to be issued. In April, the CNMI Attorney General charged the governor with a dozen counts of misconduct in public office, one count of theft related to his and the former First Lady's first-class travel, and one count for contempt for violating a legislative subpoena. The CNMI Attorney General Edward Manabusan joined in the filing of an amicus brief in Atoniguk versus Negrelli at the U.S. Supreme Court. New York's Concealed Carry Improvement Act, which regulates gun ownership and concealed carrying, was challenged, the Supreme Court issuing an order allowing the state to continue enforcing its gun laws. CNMI AG Manabusan saying he supports the state's law to help maintain public safety. He adds the amicus supports our gun-free zone statute found in 6 CMC section 10401 and requirements that firearm applicants show proof of good moral character. Stalking, human trafficking, and slavery. Guam no stranger to these problems. As Destiny Cruz reports, the Guam Coalition Against Sexual Assault and Family Violence hosting community outreach events to keep the public in the know.
It's tough to imagine stalking, slavery, or even doorstep, but the threat is real. 2022 statistics show that 24.9 million people worldwide were victims of human trafficking, 50 million for modern slavery, and 1 in 3 women and 1 in 6 men experience stalking in the U.S. alone. On our shores, local authorities report 86 stalking-related cases from 2021 to today, a crime that unfortunately could include domestic and sexual violence. For human trafficking and slavery locally, Guam Coalition Executive Director Cynthia Cabot says it happens, but she admits recording it is a challenge.
Oftentimes we overlook situations where there is a transaction, say, for example, in exchange for sex, or being due to fraud, being forced or coercion. There is that exchange.
Transactional situations that may look like this.
For minors, say if someone gives you a cell phone in exchange for sex, then that is construed or can be seen and termed as human trafficking. But we are not recognizing it as such. We are not reporting it as such.
She adds what's clear is that children and our manamku are vulnerable to human trafficking, slavery, and stalking, but others can still become a target as well. It's why this January, for Human Trafficking, Slavery, and Stalking Prevention Month, the Coalition's project coordinator, Amalia Duenas, shares this.
We are putting on a webinar coming up January 31st through February 3rd, and that one will be our Addressing Stalking webinar. We'll touch on topics such as stalking risk assessment, use of technology for stalking, persecution in stalking and human trafficking cases, and also education and school awareness to stalking.
To join the event, register at guamcoalition.org. And to find out other ways to get help whenever needed, check out pacificregionresources.org. Destiny Cruz, KUAM News.
Thanks, Destiny. Now to an outreach event dedicated to keeping our pets safe and rabies-free. Daniel Perez has the details from the island's territorial veterinarian on how they are teaching pet owners to be responsible.
An outreach mission perfect for animal lovers. Over the weekend, the Department of Agriculture held an animal outreach in the Estumbo Community Center. According to territorial veterinarian Dr. Mariana Turner, the event was a success, so much so that they ran out of supplies.
We were able to do 48 licenses for pets, 34 microchips, and 45 rabies vaccines. So clearly very much like the community really showed up for that event.
But the outreaches are more than just services for our furry friends. They also aim to educate pet owners.
I love them because I get to get out there and interact with the community, one-on-one with pet parents, talk to them about responsible pet ownership. And the biggest parts of being a responsible pet owner is to license your pet, which is mandated by law, as well as the rabies vaccine is also mandated by law for all pets 3 months of age and older. So we're able to provide those to the community.
If you missed the outreach, Agriculture is hosting another in Talafofo on February 25th, offering pet licensing, rabies vaccines, and microchipping. And if you want to get your pet spayed or neutered, the SNP clinic will be set up in Jotnya from February 13th through the 24th. Appointments can be made at snipclinicguam.com. Daniel Perez, KUAM News.
Thanks, Daniel. Just in time for Giving Every Tuesday, the Pacific Islands Club sharing these images, giving back to the island's foster children. The hotel donating $4,000 worth of toys to Kate Thomas Foundation and another $4,000 in toys to Harvest House Guam. The PAC employees collected items like blocks, sand and swim toys, Star Wars plush toys, and dinosaur bath buddies during their annual Christmas celebration, all to support that toy drive. PIC Guam General Manager Ben Ferguson encouraging others to do their part as well to give back, adding the generosity was done to help foster children locally who experience joy during the holidays, as many have already experienced life-changing or traumatic events. Now for a look at your world at home. Here's a view captured from the water off Seti Bay down in Humatec. The Guam National Weather Service forecasting Wednesday will be partly cloudy, 20% chance of isolated showers.
Won't you come stay with me for a while? Let my morning sun be your smile.
Jack, the data shows that people love our more flavorful Ultimate Cheeseburgers.
Show me the data. So the data's good.
The data's real good.
Well, honestly, it's the best data I've ever had.
My best-selling Ultimate Cheeseburgers, now seasoned as they grill.
New year, new you, new adventures. How about a new Jeep to go along with it? It is the Start Something New sales event happening now at Cars Plus. Experience a new level of freedom and adventure in the new Jeep Gladiator. Or how about the all-new legendary Jeep Grand Cherokee L? The most awarded SUV ever now features a fresh interior design and 3 rows of seating. Call us at 671-477-7807 or visit our website at carsplusguam.com to get pre-approved online today.
It only gets better with more. Customize and save with the fastest internet speeds in the Marianas by adding mobile, phone, and TV to your bundle with Business Bundles Plus. Docomo Pacific Business. Work better together.
Guam's auto appearance specialist, Elegant Reflections, has been providing the automotive industry with professional detailing and car care products at its highest quality, from complete detailing, full interior detailing, exterior detailing, headlamp restoration, hand washing, seat and carpet shampoo, engine degreasing, undercarriage cleaning, paint sealant, fabric protection, paint oxidation removal, and so much more. Visit us at our new location. Call 646-5555 for an appointment. Elegant Reflections, Guam's auto appearance specialist, over 20 years of experience.
KUAM Sports is brought to you by Docomo Pacific. Better together.
No matter the age, skill level, or amount of experience, one of the most wonderful places in the entire world you can be on a weekend with the sun shining, the breeze blowing, and friends and family smiling is out on a baseball diamond. Or in the dugout.
I want the girls to have fun, to practice those skills and apply it to the game settings. So we're learning, different plays during the game.
A couple dozen ladies and their families gathered at the ball field behind Ukadu High on Sunday as part of the Pony Baseball Clinic for Fastpitch Softball. Katie Hart is lead instructor, ensuring these young athletes realize the key part of fundamentals is fun.
So putting it in the game atmosphere, so take little skills of throwing and hitting and stuff and then putting it all together, and now they see plays being made, and then we can tackle even in the gameplay, we can say, okay, now this time do this, and target those little things.
Previous clinics saw competitors become 5-tool players, hitting for average, hitting for power, defensive fielding, speed, and arm strength. So the objective on this day was to put their skills to the test.
You got girls coming from all different schools and coming together on one field.
Competitors from 10 to older teens shared the field, encouraging each other in their development collaboratively.
Nice throw!
Yeah. That's what friends are for.
Nice! They're cheering for each other, they're telling each other it's okay, keep at it, and that's the most important part, I think.
And the core skill all these ladies are learning and putting into practice is true sportsmanship.
So we've got some younger girls out here. They have had some experience previously playing, so we have allowed them to come and join us, and they're keeping up with the older girls. They're having a good time, and the older girls are cheering them on and encouraging them.
So, mission accomplished. They've all earned a love of America's pastime, and maybe, just maybe, making a play that they could tell their friends and social media about for years to come.
The girls are cheering for each other, and I think that is great.
Because when you really think about it, you're hanging out with your friends, making new ones, making your parents proud, and playing a game. That sounds like a pretty good Sunday.
KUAM Sports is brought to you by Docomo Pacific. Better together.
When we face an uncertain path, when we struggle with life's challenges, and when the unexpected happens,
It's a beautiful day.
we rely on the people we trust,
Whoa, whoa, whoa. It's a beautiful,
who we can always count on,
beautiful day.
and to the ones who give us the most care throughout the years. Rely on Calvo's Select Care to give you the comfort and security you need wherever you are. Calvo's Select Care, healthcare that's always there for you.
Happy new phone! Start the new year off right with a brand new phone from GTA. For limited time, trade in your old phone and get up to $800 off your new phone with any unlimited plan. Say goodbye to that cracked screen and say hello to the latest 5G phones. We accept over 100 types, any condition, even locked. Get more with GTA. More 5G coverage, more unlimited plans, more savings. Visit gta.net for more info.
Finally tonight, your Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club shout-out submitted on KUAM.com.
All right, everybody, Tuesday birthdays, here we go. Happy birthday on this January 24th to Therese Abroletta. Happy birthday to you from her family, friends, Fur Babies, Tatua Hula Fitness, and Happy Hula, Haikut, Biba Tatuha, Tumuning, Tumon, Harmon, 3 villages. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of industrial places. That's a lot of love. That's a lot of wholesalers. So you are getting wholesale birthday wishes. We wish you the very best, Therese. And Raven J. earned a letter. Happy birthday, Raven, and may you enjoy your day. Your mom and your brothers, plural, all of them. They're sending you all the love in the world. So 2 amazing Guamanians that we are happy to have as part of our island family and our community, and we wish them all the best on their birthday.
And that's your Primetime Show. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Nick Delgado. Stay safe. Have a good night.
KUAM News Hotspot is brought to you by
Pacific Points, Do More, Get More, and Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
Hafide, everybody. I'm Jason Salas. We are KUAM, and it is the Tuesday edition of the Hotspot. Today is a historic day because you might not know this, but 40 years ago today, right here on NBC, one of the most amazing moments in television history happened. The A-Team premiered today. So if you need them, if you can find them, maybe you can hire the Hotspot. Let's go.
The Menu, brought to you by King's Restaurant, always open, always local, and Ruby Tuesday Guam, home of the fresh garden bar.
On today's show, we are going to tell you about a dead body that was found in Yigo. We'll take you up there live with Nick Delgado. Also on the show, it is World Leprosy Day, and I'm going to talk to my buddy Chima Mbakwam from the Department of Public Health and what you need to know about Hansen's disease. And also later on in the show, we are going to get Claire Calvo with a weekly dose of our weekly renewal. But let's start things off with news about the Guam Police Department responding to a body found up north in Guam's northernmost municipality. Of course, Nick Delgado is standing by up in Yigo, and he has the very latest details. Nick, what have you been able to add about this very disturbing story?
Jason, a death investigation unfolding here in Yigo. We're just off back road to Anderson, Route 15, near the Raceway Park, and it was just after 8 o'clock this morning that Dedito precinct officers got the call. A body found in the jungle area here on the back road again. Authorities keeping the media at least 50 feet away from the crime scene, but you see detectives and officers going in and out of the jungle area as they the body we're hearing is partially decomposed. Authorities unable to identify anything about the victim or determine how long that body may have been there. We spoke with GPD officers Berlin Sevilla earlier this morning. Take a listen. This morning, Guam police detectives responding to a report of a body here in Yigo.
Yes, good morning. So at about 8:30 this morning, our officers received a call requesting for assistance regarding a body, a possible body, human remains, that was found located in a jungle line off of Route 15. We don't have an actual official name, but it is identified as a frequent trail area where hunters come out and I guess hunt for wildlife, right? Mm-hmm. With that being said, our officers came and made their assessment on what was being reported and had, of course, activated our criminal investigation division. They came out and they assumed this case, and we are actively trying to find out more information on this death investigation. Mm-hmm. We're asking the public that if you may have had family members who are overdue from this type of activity, to kindly give our dispatch center a contact so we can gather pertinent and more information to be able to give to our community and to the public. We don't have much information as far as gender per se, and we're hoping that when an autopsy is conducted, we can have better information regarding what is located here on Route 15 off of the Raceway Park and Pawgate Trailway Caves.
It sounds like the person then, while your investigators look into this and you're unable to confirm if it's a man or a woman, was there any signs that they might have had equipment with them, hunting gear or anything like that?
This trailway, Nick, is also unfortunately filled with trash and rubbish. dumped debris. So it's hard to say whether or not these items that he's surrounded by belongs to him, or if he happened to stumble across an area where there is trash and debris.
Items like gun, or is it
No,
anything?
like household trash. Again, our officers need to sift through it to piecemeal what potentially could have happened.
And also, because you're unable to say if it's a man or woman, the condition must be badly decomposed.
The condition of the body, yes, it is partially decomposed, and it is uncertain whether or not it is of a male or a female, but it is of human remains.
Foul play?
Not that we can say. Trash surrounding and gathering more facts and information and evidence is uncertain at this point. But we definitely, when we do come across more information that's accurate per se, we definitely let the public, the community know, and reach out to our media partners to assist us in trying to locate a family member of this individual.
Okay, anything else?
Again, those contact numbers for the dispatch centers, 671-475-8615 through 7, in the event that maybe we recognize a family member had scheduled to come out here and is overdue.
Still a very active situation. Just moments ago, we saw the Guam Fire Department dropping off a couple of their crew members. We're told from authorities here that they'll be recovering that expired body here at the scene. Again, drivers, if you are heading along the back road here, Route 15 near the Raceway Park, please drive with caution, slow down, as authorities are going to be flagging you, and they continue their death investigation here. We, of course, will bring you more on KUAM.com and have the story tonight on Primetime. Jace, we'll send it back to you.
All right, thanks so much, Nick. Reporting live up there in Yigo, a very, very disturbing sight to be sure. Well, equally unfortunate, another victim of Saturday night's mass shooting in Monterey Park has died, bringing the death toll to 11. 9 others were wounded. Here is the very latest.
Candles and flowers were left outside the Star Dance Studio in Monterey Park, California, Monday as a memorial to the victims of this weekend's mass shooting.
This is just a devastating, tragic moment for our community. I think many of us are still in disbelief.
The shots rang out as a group of mostly Asian American seniors celebrated the Lunar New Year Saturday night. Among the victims, 65-year-old Mai Nam. In a statement on Twitter, her family said she spent many years going to the dance studio. It's what she loved to do, and they are starting the Lunar New Year broken.
Today was supposed to be a happy, nice day for everyone to enjoy.
The shooting cast a shadow over Lunar New Year celebrations in this predominantly Asian American community. The city of Monterey Park says it has set up a crisis center for anyone affected by the tragedy. The LA County Sheriff identified the suspect as 72-year-old Hu Can Tran. Authorities say about a half hour after the first shooting, he entered another dance hall 3 miles away. A man working there says he wrestled the gun away from the suspect, who fled in a white van. Law enforcement eventually tracked down the van, and the sheriff says the suspect took his own life as a SWAT team moved in.
Several pieces of evidence were found inside the van, linking the suspect to both locations.
Investigators searched the suspect's home as they tried to determine the motive behind the massacre. Max Darrow, CBS News, Monterey Park, California.
Well, we're going to check in with Claire now for her latest weekly renewal.
Weekly Renewal is brought to you by Calvo Select Care.
Half a day, I'm Claire Calvo, bringing you your weekly renewal. Well, it's the new year, whether you celebrate the calendar New Year or the Lunar New Year, Chinese New Year. Right now is the time where many of us are setting New Year's resolutions, right? Or New Year, New Me, Reset, whatever. There's so many different catchphrases now, but basically, essentially, the goal is the same: to have a goal and to have action steps in achieving that goal. And what I have found, looking through different studies and research and statistics, one study said that 8% of people usually stick to their resolution. I know, sounds a little dismal, but another study, there was a few that had numbers that were very similar. Between the first week, 75% of people stick to it. The first month goes down to 64%. 6 months later goes down to 45%. So the trend is the same. They have found that, of course, we get excited when we have a new goal and we're gung-ho about it. And as time and life happens, we slowly wean off and forget about that goal, or forget about it, or just we don't hold it as a priority anymore. And there's nothing to feel bad about, nothing to feel guilty about, but it is something that most people, it's a natural element of human nature. But I wanted to find what differentiates and what distinguishes between those who stuck to their goal and those who did not. And there were a couple of things, interesting things that stood out. Number one was, of course, we'd like to believe any and everything is possible, right? However, we have to be practical, and that was one of the things I found as having a reasonable, practical goal. The second thing was consistency and constancy of just every day drilling it. Well, rather than, with the different articles I read, they were saying every morning stick to their ritual and kind of like meditate on it and visualize it. However, I have always found that the night before, before we go into those hours of deep sleep in our subconscious, is a good time to actually set those intentions. Because at night, before we close our eyes and go to sleep, is a very powerful time. If we take that hour before we sleep and just go into that state of holding, envisioning what it is that we intend, when we go to sleep, we are working on the subconscious. So it is actually going into a deeper level of our being. So when we wake up the next day, we could still set those intentions, but we already have that from the night before, working on a subconscious level. And so the last thing was, there was a difference between those who were motivated as opposed to inspired. So the difference between motivation and inspiration is usually motivation is an outside catalyst or an outside force that is getting us to work on something. Whereas inspiration is more of an internal stimulus, right? So we feel pulled. Motivation is kind of like a push, whereas inspiration is kind of like a pull. Our heart feels pulled. And so it's more times than not something internal that we are coming to gain this or attain this goal. So look into, if you decide this year, it's always, whether it's the first of the week or the first of the year, check in with those different things. Consistency and constancy, if it's reasonable and practical, and of course, if it's coming from a space of motivation or inspiration. I wish you a happy new year, and I'll see you next time on your Weekly Renewal.
Weekly Renewal is brought to you by Calvo Select Care.
Please sit tight, my friends. There we go, that nice wipe. Please sit tight because we are talking with Public Health when we return.
Hey, you want to order some Taco Bell?
Two grilled chicken burritos, two bold flavors. Order on the app, only at Taco Bell.
What's the move?
All right, Hafa Day, and welcome back to the show, everybody. We are talking about leprosy right now. Now, I know if you're like me, right, you probably heard leprosy maybe from biblical stories about how everyone who had leprosy was sent off to the Isle of Molokai. You maybe thought it was like possibly a disease from the Dark Ages. Leprosy is still a very real disease. Now, the gentleman who's joining me right now in the KUAM News Zoom room, our good friend Chima Mbakwem from the Department of Public Health, is a noted expert in the field of what's formerly known as Hansen's disease. And we are celebrating World Leprosy Day coming up, but also many activities are ongoing at the end of this week to educate us, the community, in leprosy and more importantly, how it affects our island. So Chima, welcome back to the show, man. It's been too long, my friend.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Nice to be back.
Okay, so I guess first of all, how prevalent is Hansen's disease, or as most people know it, leprosy, in our island community?
Okay, so like right now we actually had a slight decrease in our leprosy cases for 2022, And that being, because of the impact of COVID on all disease areas, you would see that as we get into the new year, we're going to start seeing increase in the number of infectious diseases and non-communicable diseases across the population. So right now, we are almost at no case. We had 3 cases last year, but the preceding year we had 12 cases, and then the year before we had 8 cases.
Mm. And now, of course, as I was saying, towards the end of the week, there's going to be a proclamation signing. There will be many educational activities geared to teaching us, the community, about leprosy and possibly what we could do. I mean, can it ever be completely eradicated, or is it just, what we need to know to hopefully keep those numbers down at a manageable level?
It's a disease that can be completely eradicated, and that has been done in so many countries across the world. Like if you're looking at Europe today, in the past 10 years or 11 years, they've not had more than 20 cases of leprosy across Europe. But if you're looking at the Southeast Asia and the Western Pacific, or even the Americas, you're seeing a huge number of increase in the number of leprosy cases, being that there's no much emphasis that is laid on leprosy because it is supposed to be a neglected tropical disease, disease of history. So most people who are affected by leprosy, most of them due to stigma, are hiding. But it's something that you can be treated over a period of time. And it's like TB, it's a slow growing bacteria. It takes an average of 5 to 20 years for you to start seeing the signs of the infection. So within that period, what has happened is that in so many communities, the doctors are not looking at leprosy because it's not endemic in most regions. Like Guam, you heard me mention about all the cases that we have. In the past 11 years, we've had over 100 and something cases of leprosy. Wow. 97 of them were actually imported. None of those cases were homegrown cases, because what we normally do is, because of the time lag in infection and progression to disease, you can actually know, from the age of the individuals that are affected, where they would have gotten the disease from. So what we're seeing on Guam is that 97% of our cases is actually imported. But we still have a little homegrown cases here and there. But the main reason is, the main point is that we want to come all out to do more active case finding and also treatment for the contacts of those cases. Because when you treat the contacts, then it's easy for you to eradicate the virus, the bacteria. Yeah. Sorry.
And of course, most of us are armchair epidemiologists because of what we've all had to go through, and you and your colleagues over at Public Health have educated us in the last 3 years about how diseases are traced and contact tracing and things of that nature. So with your educational activities coming up and the proclamation signing, what information is going to be passed to us about what we need to know about leprosy?
So right now we are actually working with one of our NGO partners on Guam, and in collaboration with the global partner for Zero Leprosy. We have a plan to develop a zero leprosy map for Guam, which is what has happened in some of the countries around the world, where the global partnership for Zero Leprosy invest resources into the community to bring stakeholders together to look at how they can eradicate leprosy within their own communities using their own strategies. So what happened was, earlier last year, we met with the global partnership for Zero Leprosy. We started an engagement, and luckily for us, an NGO on the island was also a member of the global partner for Zero Leprosy. So we were able to come together, and the NGO got some funding for them to start up the roadmap. So Public Health will be working with them, to develop that roadmap and come up with strategies to eradicate leprosy on the island, and also work with other countries around us that have seen an increase in cases to make sure that we are in line with what they are doing. So that is one of the big things that will happen on Friday, and also the governor will be signing the proclamation to declare January World Hansen Disease Day.
All right, very well. So final question, Chima, because of course when you're probably going to see all over social media, from healthcare experts like yourself, and when they say World Leprosy Day, where is the best place that noobs like me can go if we want to learn more about leprosy? Are there reliable places online that can we go to, or are there brochures that public health passes out?
Yeah, so the information on leprosy is more on the CDC website and the WHO website. Being that even in a continental US, there is almost no cases of leprosy out there. So they have only one leprosy treatment center in the whole of the US, which provides all the information that you need about leprosy in terms of treatment. But for educational materials, you just have to go to the WHO website or go to CDC website, or come over to public health. We can hand out pamphlets to just talk about the basic information about leprosy, because the message out there is, knowing the signs and symptoms of any disease is what will help you, progress to seeking for care. And what we're here doing at the program is to give out that information so that people will be aware that something like this is going on, and people should also seek help when they notice that they have the signs and symptoms of.
Well, there you go. Yeah. And Chima, if there's one lesson that we took away from you, like throughout the years that we were working with you during coronavirus, that information is power, and you've certainly given us a bunch of that. So thank you for, again, what you do for the community. Good to see you, man. One of these days, I'm going to interview you about soccer. Much more positive stories.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Nice talking to you again. Thank you very much.
Okay, and I'll make sure to call it football when we talk. I'm not going to say soccer. I'll say football.
Good. Awesome. Thank you so much.
I'm Bakwan, the man with all the information about what you need to know about Hansen's disease. Thanks to Chima and Art St. Augustine, of course, the Director of Public Health, for doing all they do for our community, I should say. All right, please stay tuned. There's much more coming up. House to Home is next.
New year, new you, new adventures. How about a new Jeep to go along with it? It is the Start Something New sales event happening now at Cars Plus. Experience a new level of freedom and adventure in the new Jeep Gladiator. Or how about the all-new legendary Jeep Grand Cherokee L? The most awarded SUV ever now features a fresh interior design and 3 rows of seating. Call us at 671-477-7807 or visit our website at carsplusguam.com to get pre-approval online today.
How deep do Pizza Hut's roots run in the islands? Through all the decades, we know what you love. Great taste at an even better price. Like our large 3-topping carry-out pizza for just $13.99. You choose your favorite toppings, meat, vegetables, or any combination that totals 3. Our $13.99 large 3-topping pizza. Order online and carry one out today. Only at Pizza Hut, the island's best.
Thank you.
As we always do here on House to Home, Liz, Gina, myself, Jason, we are bringing you information you need to know about not only the real estate transactions, but also the real estate market. And something that we have been covering for a while now is EPA involvement in the real estate industry. And I want to kind of paraphrase here. Guam homeowners could be in violation, a substantial number of them, ladies, for not being hooked up to a public sewer that is with a public sewer line that's within 500 feet of their residence. GWA does have a loan available for such affected people. However, it's been noted that not that many people are taking advantage of that. To you, I pose the question, why?
Well, it could be a cost prohibitive. And part of that, we just spoke with someone about what is the cost to connect. So I worked for EPA many, many moons ago, like 20, 30 years. And the rule about hooking up to sewer within 500 feet was already in place way back when in I think it was like the 80s. So whether Guam EPA or Guam Water Works followed through with that law, and now in talking to a contractor, it's pretty pricey to connect to the sewer. So if you're looking at $200 to $300 per lineal foot, and Gina and I first started talking about it, and we thought, wait maybe